Hi, everyone. Ann Louise here with another episode of First Lady of Nutrition podcast. And today our topic is vitamin G, vitamin grounding. And who better to talk about this than my new friend, Sharon Whitely, who is known as a serial entrepreneur. She is a visionary and a gal who brings out innovative leading edge products that enhance the lives of people through grounding, vitamin G. So welcome to First Lady of Nutrition, Sharon Whitely. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, it's a delight to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You know, I met you through my good friend, Stephen Sinatra. How do you know Dr. Sinatra?
Oh my goodness, I attribute my world of grounding to him, and probably inadvertently in some way of saving my life. Around a decade ago, I was attending a positive aging conference in Las Vegas, of all places, and I was sitting in a lecture by Stephen Sinatra, who's a cardiovascular doc, which we all know. And after he got telling the audience that the number one killer for women is heart disease, he then goes on to the subject of earthing and grounding. Well, I never heard of earthing, and I thought grounding is what you do to kids then when they blow curfew. My half a science course paid off, and I got it. The earth is an electrical field. It has an amazing natural energy, and it's called electrons. And our bodies are electrical systems. But with the advent of contemporary and urban life and synthetics, we are cut off from that normal connection to the earth bodily. And that intrigued me. And then the aha moment took over. It's how it always happens. I get tapped on the shoulder, hit in the gut. My heart goes to the brain, and I'm a goner. It's worse than the sirens calling the sailors. So that's how I learned about grounding and fell in love with creating grounding footwear.
So would you explain a little bit more to my audience about how to get involved with grounding? What are the first steps? Now, you have grounding shoes, which I find exceedingly innovative and very, very important. So what has happened with regular shoes? I mean, so we're no longer connected to the ground because of the rubber soles. Is that what the disconnect is?
Yeah, the synthetic, since the advent of, I guess as Dustin Hoffman called it, plastics, with synthetic, for those of us that are young enough to remember, right?
Yes.
With the advent of synthetics in footwear, which most shoes have, that cut us off from the normal connection to the earth. So when we first came on this earth, the men and women, they went barefoot, and then they wore leather skins. Pure leather is also what's called conductive. It gets you through to the earth. But since the advent of synthetics, we're cut off from that normal flow, which contributes to a homeostasis state. So we as human beings are what's called electron deficient, because we're not getting the electrons back into our body. The indigenous cultures were some of the healthiest ever on earth. They didn't die from anything like heart disease, diabetes, nothing. They died from bears, who knows, whatever, but they had that normal flow. So most footwear on the market today is keeping us from that direct connection to the earth.
So I remember Dr. Sinatra, whom I interviewed recently on one of my podcasts. He once said, I'm trying to remember his quote exactly, Sharon, so forgive me if it's not 100%. He once said that earthing or grounding was the greatest health breakthrough in all his years in medical practice. Do you think that's true as well?
I actually do, and I have a personal note on that, which I don't share very much. But 3 years ago, I had a heart attack, and I am convinced. Little did I know that I had heart disease in my family. You know, the time of era I grew up and parents didn't talk about stuff. But anyway, I attribute to living a grounded life and being grounded to being able to talk to you today on the phone. So I do believe in it. I understand the health benefits. This is not woo-woo crunchy granola stuff. This is science, and it's natural and it's real. And there's so many ways one can get grounded. We may choose because we wear them every single day. We don't live on Tahiti. We don't live on, in indigenous cultures. So by wearing shoes that can connect us, even walking on concrete to be grounded, that was what this whole company was all about.
So then regular grounding with the kinds of shoes that you have created will calm the nervous system. Would you agree?
Yes, it does a lot. The main things about the main benefits of grounding are reduction of inflammation, increased circulation, normalization of blood pressure, and then reduction of stress and return to a more normal homeostasis state, because we're just an electrical connection with the earth and so forth. So those are the core and scientifically proven benefits. There are a number of research studies that exist on it. So it's and we believe them all. Stephen Sinatra actually is one of the major pioneers behind the science of grounding, and especially around blood and blood viscosity and heart health.
Well, I think that grounding is probably a natural form of anti-aging, don't you think?
Absolutely. I'm an identical twin. Ann Louise, and I will say that I definitely believe I have less wrinkles than my twin sister, who I've really beat over the head to really try to live a grounded life. But because we both have very poor circulation, and that does cause wrinkles, but it is attributed to, yes, a more, just even increased circulation. Many of the benefits contribute to living longer and living more healthy, for sure.
So you talk about some of the studies. I mean, this is, you say, it's not woo-woo stuff, which I totally agree with you about. I wrote about it in a book that came out about 10 years ago called Zapped. I had a little section on Clint Ober, whom I'm also, I think you mentioned that you knew him as well. He was the collaborator, really the uncoverer, do we call him a discoverer, uncoverer of the concept of grounding?
Yeah, I think, well, grounding actually goes back. I mean, the universe, the almighty, whatever you want to say, created grounding. It's the earth. But Clinton certainly was as a pioneer, and he's responsible for working on and finding a way to tangibly get the electrons back into your body through products that one can plug into grounding ports interior. Our footwear and so forth, and we're just coming out too with grounding socks next week, actually. So we do it through the feet, which is your highest point of entry and from the ground into your body, and we do it through footwear. We wear shoes every single day of the life, and we also have worked really, really hard to make our shoes. Well, they're biomechanically correct. Number one. Number two, they're really stylishly.
So tell me about that. I'm very into biomechanics these days because of a situation I've had with a TMJ joint. And I know that biomechanics is something that most people don't look at when they look at total health. So how are these shoes different than any other shoe on the market, Sharon Whitely?
Well, our shoes are different by biomechanically correct. They are designed from the interior, from the construction science technically, and that has to do with the where the center of pressure is on a shoe. It has to do where the arch support is. It has to do with where the spring in the toe is. So that when you are walking, our shoes also are designed to support what we call a normal walking gait. And so that is really important, because not only do they look really stylish and current, which is important, because if they don't, we, especially women, we want to feel pretty, which is also a wellness benefit. But they are biomechanically correct, and there are so many people that have even worn orthotics that claim when they're wearing our shoes they don't anymore. So it's really technical in terms of how they are built. What they call the arch support, the heel, the length of the heel from the ground. So they are designed by very, very talented technical experts on the inside. And then I and a wonderful designer, we have fun designing all the outside.
So what are the benefits that people have received? Do you get a lot of testimonials from your people? And the name of your company, by the way, what is it called?
It's Harmony783. And it's interesting, and there is a reason to the name.
Yes.
7.83 is something called the Schumann Resonance. And the Schumann Resonance is, in fact, what grounding is all about. It describes what the relationship is from a frequency standpoint to the Earth and the planetary system. And we really worked hard to find a name that would be representative of what our shoes were, that we also could have and own ourselves. So we put it together with Harmony783, and that's where our name comes from.
And tell me do you have just female shoes? Do you have male shoes, children's shoes?
We have the whole gamut for adults, and I guess you could say if they're pretty big kids, but not children. That's sort of a totally different area of footwear. But we have men's and women's, and we have shoes, we say, from the beach to the boardroom and from morning to night. So we have shoes that you could wear, out and about, that will look stylish and classic if you're going to work. And then we have ones that are sort of, we call urban joggers, that are not full-fledged running shoes, but they will support a jog and they look like that and they're very attractive. And then we have these adorable, we call them walkers, but they're the sort of the classic little sort of sneaker look. They're really cute. And then for men, we have the same thing. And then we have a what we call a driver. And all of our shoes are either in suede or leather. And we were just coming out actually with a new line of little ballets for women that also have that. We have a couple that are vegan, that are synthetic materials. So we cover the gamut. And there are ways of getting grounded too that are not just with our shoes, but
And so what would, if somebody wanted to begin a grounding lifestyle, what would be the 3 best tips? And of course, taking a look at your shoes, because you're wearing shoes every day, they might as well be grounded shoes. And you've got such a display, of gorgeous display, might I add. But if you were to tell somebody to embark on a grounding lifestyle, a vitamin G lifestyle, what would that be? Let's say it's the summer, which makes it a little easier.
Well, first of all, the best and most direct connection is bare skin to the ground. So if there's an opportunity to go barefoot and safely, I mean, some environments, whether it's fertilizer or if you're in urban areas, you can find more interesting things in the ground that you don't want on your feet. However, going barefoot is the most direct connection. However, or any body part, gardening, in the dirt, that is a great one. You can also get grounded if you're a woman getting a pedicure in a contemporary tub. In a shower, you can get grounded. If it's electrical pipe, you are grounded. That's a lot of times when people take showers and during
feel
the day,
good, and they feel so good.
Yeah, and a bubble bath or a bath. If you're in a bath, let the water just drip from the fountain a little bit, and you'll get grounded. You can hold the faucet in the sink. If it's a metal fountain, let the water drip, you'll get grounded. But to the earth, a direct connection to the ground through a body part, any body part. A lot of people, if they're out camping, they will just, get some bare parts hitting the ground. And then there are products too that one can buy that you can use on an interior where you plug it into a grounding port. Everything we do is natural and outside. We don't do anything where we're working with any plug-in product, but it does exist as well. And that is also really good too. There are mats you can get and things for sleeping. And so there's some new companies too coming out with some innovative products for interior.
So I want to get back to the testimonials. How long have you been in business, by the way?
Well, I had a company close to a decade ago called Plugs, and we were the first pioneers of grounding footwear. And I sold that company 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago or 3 years after that, I was approached by a very neat woman at a trade show. Actually, the same show I was at 10 years later when is to the first one that Stephen Sinatra was speaking in, and we ended up partnering on a new venture to create shoes that also had a little bit more robust offerings and things you could wear lace up and hiking and so forth, as opposed to my first company shoes were a little bit more street shoes friendly and primarily women. We are both men and women.
So testimonials, what comes back to you with your shoes? What do people say to you? Do they sleep better? Do they walk better? Do they have more energy? Do they lose weight? Do they look younger? Do they lose their sags, bags, and dragging skin?
I think the main thing that people do say is, because being grounded is a very subtle energy. I mean, there are some people that might have a metal leg or something, a portion in their body, that could maybe feel something, but for the most part, it's a very subtle energy. You don't get like a jolt, and it's like a gas tank. It's also something that needs to be a continuum, but people feel better. They do feel less stressed. They feel more energized. They definitely sleep better. And
with very, very potent dreams, very vivid dreams.
Yeah, it's just really returns to a more normal homeostasis state.
The only caveat that I have heard, because I worked closely at one point with Dr. Sinatra's co-author, Clint Ober, is that earthing has a blood thinning effect. Can you speak to that a little bit?
I actually do think it saved my life. It has a lot to do with blood viscosity, which is a good thing. And Stephen actually, along with Gaetan Chevalier and a man by the name of Jim Oshman, another brilliant scientist.
Brilliant, yes.
Yeah, those three are the real pioneers behind the science of grounding. But Stephen has written a lot, and all of the studies are accessible from our website, as well as other websites as well. But about it does contribute to a very good state of blood viscosity. So I do again attribute it to being to actually saving my life, being grounded. I really do.
So tell us a little bit more. My audience is very interested in true life stories. So how did you get your heart attack? I mean,
Oh my
what
gosh.
precipitated it? Do you have a little time to delve into
Yeah,
that?
for sure. Well, the thing of it is, I've been in the women's health and wellness arena my whole life through product. That's been the vehicle through which I've manifested, contributing hopefully to people's lives, in alternative and natural ways as well. And I knew that heart disease was the number one killer for women, but I didn't pay attention to it, and I didn't really know that my dad had cardiovascular disease. Although I do admit embarrassingly that I did smoke early on myself. Anyway, I woke up one night, this was a few years ago, with feeling incredibly nauseous, like I had eaten a mile-long buffet and drunk a keg of beer, neither of which were true.
Mm.
And after I couldn't, admit anything because there was nothing in my body, I laid in bed. I was on a grounding mat and did some heart-centered meditation, and it dissipated, and I woke up fine the next day. It happened 2 weeks again later. That 2 weeks later, I had a little bit of a ping, and I felt, oh, this felt like acid reflux, which I think I had once in my life. And but same things, same symptoms, same everything. And I woke up the next day still, but again, this little lingering pain. And I was driving to Colorado that night, and I said, I'm going to stop in at urgent care. I don't want to be on the road late at night and have something wrong. They did an EKG, they did some blood test, and they came back and they said, the EKG is inconclusive, but the blood test isn't, and you are having a heart attack as we speak.
Oh my gosh.
The next thing I knew, I had a face mask over me. A big ambulance fire truck came, and I just remember he was a very sweet man. He just put something over my face. And then I had called a friend of mine here, and I said, I'm going to Tucson Medical Center. If you want to meet me there, that'll be great. By the way, here's my sister's phone number. Do not call her. I get to the medical center. Walk
Okay.
in. They said, normally we would talk to you about your lifestyle. We'd put you through a stress test. They said, but we think you have 90 minutes. And by the way, do you have a living will?
Oh my gosh.
So I said to my friend, this is my sister's number again. Do not call her. I said, do whatever you need to do. I do not want to be kept alive in any way. And then I woke up and I had a stent. It was not the widowmaker's artery, which they talk about, which I never heard of, which I do know now. I was there an hour and a half and a day and a half, and they kicked me out and said, you're the fastest recovery. And that was a few years ago. And I've been healthy ever since, and I think I have more energy than most people half my age. But I feel very fortunate. It was a huge wake-up call, so I learned a lot. So nausea, I never knew that nausea was for women in particular. So that was my wake-up call, and I am very grateful for it because I did change my lifestyle too, in a number of ways.
So what did you do particularly? You had been grounding before this. Did you up the grounding?
Well, no, I was just very, very consistent with that, but I had smoked on and off and gone back. A terrible drug would, if stuff got stressful. I wasn't eating in the best way possible. All the things I like to do for exercise, hike, ski, and bike, none of them are aerobic. So I started walking a little bit more and so forth, but just with nutrition, which I know is your world, and eating more and just being more thoughtful, doing more meditation a little bit just to be calmer and I love what I do, and I'm always involved in creating something, but I tried to be a little bit more mindful all the way around. So it was an overarching, just a healthier sort of lifestyle, but I've never stopped living a grounded lifestyle, and I've never stopped wearing grounding shoes every single day, and I will go barefoot whenever I can.
So do you think that there are aspects of the modern day lifestyle? I mean, this is a loaded question. I know you're going to know the answer, but are there certain aspects that make us more susceptible to being in an ungrounded state, like all the EMFs were exposed to on a daily basis?
Well, we read so much and about antioxidants and free radicals and all the things that are in the environment and about immunity. There is something too about grounding that does support a healthy immune system as well. And I know it's about balance and so forth, but grounding is purported to totally mitigate against the challenging, the compromising aspects of EMF and radio frequency shields, which, and a lot of people think, well, it doesn't pertain to me. I don't live near a tower, but they should take a look inside. It is how fancy is your washing machine, your drying machine,
Your smart appliances.
Yeah, there's an awful lot in that. I am not particularly sensitive to those aspects of it. I know a lot of people that are. Anybody that is under treatment of any kind for any cancer, any radiation is very susceptible. Being grounded, if you are grounded, it mitigates against all of the ill impacts of EMFs and radio frequencies. There's a lot of research about that too. So our story about grounding, our belief in it is about getting those wonderful, nourishing, incredible electrons back into your body. That's our main story. The earth is our main ingredient. We say we're powered by earth. And so it's, the ancients knew. They really did. It is, Mother Earth is really a pretty vitally nourishing
element.
Yes, actually, yeah.
And so highly missing in this day and time. So you currently offer grounding shoes for both men and women. You're coming out with grounding socks. What else is on the horizon for your company?
That's it. That's a lot to keep us full. I mean, we've got shoes are all different seasons and different styles, but and our socks are really extra special. They're designed in such a way that they're what's called thermal conductive. And what that means is if your tootsies are warm and you put your socks on, they're going to help stay warm. And if they're cool, that'll help there too. But they are done to also mirror where the silver is in the ball of the foot area. If you're wearing our shoes, it enhances grounding. You can still get grounded with socks, even in our shoes without our socks. But if you want to just wear the socks outside and a little protection on your feet, you can still get very, very grounded with our socks. So that for right now is what's on our plate, and we're really excited about it. We're just, we've just been launching this new company, so it's very exciting.
So do you think that people are very ill with heart issues and brain issues because they're electrical organs that get out of whack?
I would just say I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I read a lot. I learn a lot. It certainly seems to be true that the environment, the factors, how we live our life, so much is going on is contributing to a less healthy state. So, and we feel that being grounded is one that does help bring us back to, a sort of a great square one place.
I guess what I was getting at is that we're not just biochemical, we're bioelectrical beings.
Yes, definitely. We are. And it's, and that's what I think being grounded is. It's really being, and reconnecting that charge between us and the earth that is how we came on this earth.
Well, I'm so excited about this. I mean, I'm excited about everything that you're doing, of course, because I own a pair of your grounding shoes and I adore them. I sleep in them, by the way. I think I'm kidding. I'm not. But I adore.
I have to get you the socks. They're very, very yummy. They're also made with merino wool. You can sleep in those.
Oh my gosh, what a treat! But I also
love that. But excuse me.
Tell me the name of the company again.
Oh, it's True 47.
47 is the element. That's the periodic table element.
We have we have a number of masks, face shields, scarves, and they're very, very pretty too. Some of them are really pretty elegant looking. And then we have some also with copper. Copper is a great antiviral. And we have mask mists and we have sprays like air fresheners that we know when you just even in an environment, it's better than any single synthetic type of product or anything with the fragrance. We only use pure essential oils, wildcrafted organic pure essential oils, very different from fragrances. Fragrances actually are pretty much have the kitchen sink in them. So every time you see the word fragrance, look carefully, and they do smell differently. So we use pure essential oils, Himalayan sea salts, trace minerals.
So how do you think of these things? Are these products just ideas whose time has come, because you're exceedingly visionary in what you're putting out on the market?
Well, I can credit my family for that. I am an identical twin, as I mentioned. We come from a family of entrepreneurs, Eastern European merchants, and it's in our blood. And I have never set out to create a company. Again, it's either get tapped on the shoulder and everything else, the mechanics of it getting up to my brain work, and I have no choice. It's sort of a calling. So it's really, if there's just sort of merchant stock in here, and I've just am drawn to products that feel right, that are grounded in science, everything. And I have definitely been the pioneer with the arrow in the back, and before and ahead of our time. And in fact, writing another book called The Arrow, the Whistle, and the Wave. I think it now needs to say tsunami, but we've been the pioneer with the arrow in the back. The whistle is the train's left the station. It's so loud, forget it, you missed it. And the wave is when you're lucky enough to catch it just at the crest. And what's happened since with what's going on in the world on every single facet, this is not about adapt and change. I think we are living in totally seismic changes of what's going on in the world. So anyway, I've been blessed. I feel blessed with whatever genes that have just connected me to opportunities that are worthwhile, substantive, and that can contribute to enhancing people's lives. So it runs in our family. We all seem to do it.
And you're very generous. I mean, I need to really give you a public thank you, a real shout out for donating. It's something like 500 of your cloths to the launch of our new book, Radical Longevity. So thank you so much.
Well, you know what, 10 to 20 wipes with that little cloth in your hand, wet, dry, or damp, and you will not have any bacteria or germs on it. Is again as counterintuitive as if it is. So we're delighted to, and we feel, and I feel incredibly thankful to Stephen Sinatra, who wrote the foreword to Barefoot Wisdom. And if it weren't for Stephen and me sitting in his lecture, I probably to this day would not know about it. And then people like Jim Oshman as well. And
pioneers.
Yeah, truly.
Pioneers.
And I've learned so much about you. I used to hear, Ann Louise, I have to tell you, you are a legend, and I don't mean to tie that in any way to an age type of thing, which people think of legends, but you are a legend in terms of all of your world, which is really new to me, because I grew up in a very neck-up environment. I wasn't connected to down below the neck, and the body never knew it was the vehicle that kept you alive, really. So everything and all of your teachings and all of your tips in this, it's I've become a huge fan, and it's an honor to be included in your world.
Well, I thank you. That's very sweet, very gracious, very lovely indeed. So I'm so grateful that you were my guest today. Any parting words to my audience, Sharon Whitely?
Oh no, I'm sure your audience are people that actually I've met a few of your audience. I have to say they've gotten in touch, and I've learned so much from them. So you have quite an amazing following. So it's just I'm just to feel privileged again to be part of your world now. And thank you. I don't mean to be assuming here, but you've adopted me if you haven't known that.
No, a cousin, a sister. Yeah. And I know that you are graciously going to be giving our listeners to this new podcast that are new to your work a little code or a discount on some of your products.
Absolutely. We'd love them to try our shoes and give us a firsthand, or I guess I'd say first feet response. So we think they'll love them. We're very, very proud of it. They're adorable, they're comfortable, they're correct, and they will ground you. So if you are walking, you're going to be wearing shoes every day unless you're on vacation and somewhere where you don't have to, but just by wearing shoes, you can make yourself healthier. So we're all really thrilled. We have this absolutely awesome team of people for which I'm also very grateful for.
Well, thank you. Thank your team. Thanks, Sarah. Please be in touch with Stuart so we can offer our listeners a wonderful discounted code so they can start being part of this wonderful world of yours. Thank you for all your continuing good work. Stay in good health, you hear?
Well, you too. You too. You stay safe. We're sort of in a hot spot down here in Arizona, but we know things will abate and things will get better. So we're very positive, and we actually look for opportunity in times of crisis. We get inspired to just do better.
Yes, and if you know better, you have to do better. And I want to thank all my audience for tuning in yet once again to First Lady of Nutrition podcast. Thank you to Unikey Health Systems, their brand new immune formula, which I take on a daily basis because of its astragalus ingredient, the modern day longevity herb. And I want to thank all of you once again for being such wonderful and grateful followers, fans, and friends. So thank you again. Shalom, shalom. Be well, Sharon Whitely. Lots of love. Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Louise here with just one more thing. Thank you so much for being a fan of my work. And if you like this video, please check out all my other videos. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications.